Mike, you issued your annual report recently. Could you give us an overview on your report?
Yes, certainly. This is our 35th annual report, and we've tried to capture two elements in there. One is service delivery and what services we provide, where we provide them right across the borough. And the other element is looking at obviously the statistics that come out of the work we do and some of the social policy work that we do, where I know everyone associates us with advice giving, but our equal aim is to use the experience of our clients to be able to influence policy and policy makers so that people aren't disadvantaged by the policies that we have locally and nationally.
Looking at page 17, total issues over the year, 39% debt. Still a big issue, isn't it?
It's a very big issue, and we don't see that declining. Obviously the current economic situation means that we feel that it's going to become more and more difficult for people to manage, and certainly any sense that if interest rates rise or if there are any more job losses, it will become more and more difficult for people to manage any debt that they have.
Is it a hidden world? I mean, do people really not only understand the debt if it happens to them? If it doesn't happen to them, do they have to see people homeless on the streets to realise it's a crisis? I mean, would you describe it as a debt crisis?
Well, debt only exists where people can't maintain their indebtedness. So I know that's a simplistic way of putting it, but all people have debt, whether it's paying the electricity quarterly or paying off their credit cards, etc. It becomes a problem, obviously, when their income doesn't cover those outgoings, and then it can very rapidly spiral out of control. Once interest rates on default start to come into play, people find that they are more and more sinking under a weight of debt, and they look, anywhere they can find help. Now I don't need to tell you that if you watch daytime TV, you'll see a raft of adverts for debt management companies. And obviously if they can afford to advertise on TV, there's money to be made out of dealing with people's debts. We deal with people's debts free of charge, and morally, and all our services are free of charge, and morally we would say it's difficult to understand how you can charge someone who is in debt for dealing with their debts.
Obviously you're not a political organisation, but there are cuts in the midst of cuts, and cuts are coming. Do possibly the looking at cuts in legal aid concern you at all?
Well, it concerns us greatly because we're one of the biggest providers of legal aid in social welfare categories in the Eastern region. So we help many Thurrock residents with debt, benefits, housing and employment issues, and we do that under the legal help scheme, which most people know as legal aid. The proposals from the Ministry of Justice is that those categories will go out of scope. That means that we will no longer be funded to do that work, and as of yet there is no sense of if or how that funding will be replaced, if it will. And I think it may be that the Ministry of Justice is hoping that perhaps another ministry will pick up the cudgels and funds something. But it's a great concern for CABs, for law centres, and for many small solicitors' practices. The changes are far-reaching, and also in family law, and it's difficult to see how people will find the help that they need.
I've always got the impression, or we have always got the impression, the relationship between yourselves and the council hasn't been as a fruitful or a rosy one, but where are you with the council these days?
Well, we've made great inroads in working with the council. We recently agreed to reinvigorate and they agreed to refund the housing advice service. So we now can provide housing advice to all people in Thurrock, whether they be local authority tenants, private tenants, owner-occupiers, any of those issues we can deal with. And we've had a very good, well, at least 2 or 3 meetings with the new CEO, Graham Farron, and he's very positive about working with the CAB and the voluntary sector. And we feel that's, working through the council, officers are seeing us as a solution to some of the issues they might have they're struggling with cutbacks, we're going to struggle with cutbacks, but working together we can do a lot more for less money.
Including council tax recovery, are you happy with the progress in respect of that?
Well, we're still seeing problems with council tax recovery. We still have issues around whether they are actually following the vulnerable persons policy and their debt collection policy. So we're collecting social policy evidence that clients bring to us, and we're hoping that further dialogue with the council tax recovery team and officers and members will bring about a more a robust following of policy that's already been agreed, because the policy's there, it's just it's in the interpretation, but we feel that there are still people who are being put under unnecessary pressure. We have no problem with the council pursuing people who refuse to pay their council tax. That's they have the moral and legal right to do that. What we say is where vulnerable people are involved, they need to take a slightly different process, and part of that is in their policy, and we need to see that followed much more robustly.
Looking at your report, you have a huge army of volunteers and contributors, but also people who I knew somebody recently who did an intern work here and has gone on to actually the council do intern work, and it's great, valuable experience for a lot of people, isn't it, to work here?
No, what we always try to do is be focused for the community. We're a local charity, although we're members of a large national body. We are a local registered charity run by local people, and the trustee board are all local people as well. So very much rooted in the community, and what we try to do with the best way we can is provide other services that perhaps people don't often see or hear about. But many of our volunteers who come here get skills that make them job ready and can help them finding work. We take many people from the job welfare to work scheme, whereby they're perhaps been on benefits long term. They come here for a period of 3 months, work on reception, work in administration, again pick up more skills, and they also say to prospective employers that they have done something. They've got up, they've gone out, they've volunteered, and that benefits the community. It helps our clients, it helps us run the service, and it also helps them get back into work.
Thank you very much.